Hello everyone, I'm Lady Sulavine and welcome to my realm of purpose. Again. So I've decided to do a trailer breakdown for, the teaser trailer that released the other day, because there is a lot to talk about and there's a few things I've noticed, a lot of questions I have, and I thought I would just share that. I'm a content creator, might as well. So the opening shot is most likely the port city of Minrafis in Tevinter. I'll put the map location somewhere on screen. We can actually see the start of the Imperial Highway, which goes all the way down to Ferelden. I actually think that's pretty awesome. As someone who loves the lore, I just like that little detail that they didn't forget that. Because this is actually where the Imperial Highway starts, because it was built by the Tevinter Imperium. As well as that, you can see the circle of Magi floating in the background, which was once a temple of Razikale, the old god of mystery. Fun fact. Minor notes on Minrafis I wanted to point out, because I think they will come up in the game, as there is the Ambassadoria, which is an embassy built in the Ancient Age for the dwarves, because, Tevinter and the dwarves had a very close relationship. On top of that, there is the Grand Proving Arena, which was inspired by Dwarven Proving Grounds. I'm hoping to see that too. I feel like it'd be weird if they didn't. This is also where the Archon's Palace is, so we might see that. Minrafis is actually the only surface city that is defended by golems, or what they call juggernauts, so I expect to see them as well. I will also say that Minrafis is a city bustling with slavery, with a slave bazaar that's mentioned in 2 of the previous games, so we're probably also going to see that. But, if it's there, it needs to be addressed, I feel. Like I said, I expect to see all of this in the Veilguard, which actually makes me really excited as a lover of the lore. I do also want to speculate on the fact that in the Andrastian Canticle of Exaltations, I managed to say that after a few tries, it mentions that Minrafis is the place where Andraste will forgive mankind and bring the world back to harmony, so that could mean something, it might not. I feel like there is an implication there that the writers would remember. Basically shit's gonna go down in Minrafis, I'm predicting. This is gonna be the epicenter of all the stuff. So yeah, I'm expecting the city to either be completely explorable, kind of like a cyberpunk situation, but probably much smaller. Or it's going to be a Kirkwall in Dragon Age 2 situation where you have areas and you can just enter the map, click to that area, etc. One last thing on that shot that I want to mention is it's curious how all of the boats in the port seem to have their sails down, and there's not really anyone in sight. This could mean nothing, but my mind does wander to if this is relevant or not, Because not one of these boats has its sails up in one of the biggest port cities in Phaedus. Like, that's gotta mean something, It feels weird. Or it could have just been we didn't want to animate that, I don't know. Because sails up have to move. Maybe they just didn't want to animate that, but that'd be weird. I don't know. I want it to mean something. I want everything to mean something. So next, we're in a bar with a group of enemies, in Varric and Warden. I want to point out that in the background, the architecture to me looks Kunari, as well as there's just some symbols that I believe to be associated with the Qun. So that might imply a location. I don't think the bar scene happens in Minrafis, as what you might guess the establishing shot would imply, but I just don't think it is, because as far as I remember, Minrafis hasn't fallen to the Qun. So I don't know why there's that much symbology there. So I don't know. My suspicion is Saharan, but I could be way off. The enemies we see in this scene also look quite interesting. I'd like to say Venatori, but they don't have quite the exact look about them to be Venatori, so perhaps Tevinter deserters? Though I will say that their weapons are very curious. For example, a few of them carry a kopish. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is this sickle-like sword that was used in ancient Egypt. And it's a pretty nice looking weapon actually, I really like that. And most notably is that their armour has no identifying markers or faction symbols, which, as I said, the Venatori typically wear them. Like, you can usually tell, but they look Tevene, but not Venatori. So my best guess is these are probably Tevinter deserters that have just happened to have gotten in a fight with Varric and Harding. Hence why no one in the bar seems to be taking this too seriously. Also, I just want to point out that in the background there's just people hanging out, chilling, chatting while this fight is happening, so that makes me think this isn't too serious. Or, I don't know, it's just there's people not caring in the background. So I'm gonna assume that this scene takes place directly after the Missing comic ended, where the last part they go to Minrathous and rescue a bunch of slaves, as well as meet Neve. Also, I adore Varric's little Inquisition sigil on his belt. That actually brought up a shudder of warmth into my heart there, because I'm like, you're reminding me of a game I loved. You're reminding me of my Inquisitor, who I love very dearly. Lovely. Also says a lot about Varric, I think, the fact that he's so ingrained in the Inquisition, the fact that he's carrying that symbol with him. You know, he's very attached. Perhaps he's too attached, given how much he seems to reminisce on the past and finding a new hero. I don't know, maybe that's what Varric's character arc's gonna be. Prediction time, I do think Varric is gonna die in this game. I've had that feeling for a while, and I just really suspect that's gonna happen. I feel like that's how they would send his character off. Not confirmed, but suspicion. Also, I just want to point out that Varric is missing his chest hair, and his hair went from ginger to a black grey. I mean, it's kind of nice to see after the Missing comic what BioWare says he looks like, because he looks different in every single chapter of that. But interesting. I don't know if I like it, but we'll see what he looks like in-game, hopefully. You know, it's a very weird look for Varric. Later on in this bar scene, I'm taking this from different points in the video because I had to put them together to try and make sense of the scene. I didn't like that it kept cutting in and out of it. So later on we see Rook, and it looks like he has Later on we see Rook, and it looks like they have a similar pattern on their clothes as the carpet we saw earlier. Just wanted to point that out. Maybe they work there. Maybe they were born there. In this location. I don't know, but it's just very... It looks similar, but it's not the same. So, that's it. I just want... Also, Harding is 100% checking out the protagonist. Do you see the look she gives this... I was about to say guy. It looks like a guy in the trailer. You see the look she gives the protagonist? Just... Oh yeah, I would. Oh yeah. So yeah, Harding is romanceable. Not only romanceable, but she is from the get-go interested, which just... That was a weird part in the trailer for me, as someone who's just not calibrated to be into that kind of... to be like, yeah, oh yeah baby, I see you over there. I'm not calibrated for that, so it was just very... Oh, okay, that's the look she's giving our main character, okay. Of course then, onto the companions. First, the plucky dwarven archer from Inquisition, Scout Lace Harding. Not much to say about her. She's been helping the Inquisitor and Varric to find solace for the last, I think, a few years? I can't say for sure, but she was part of the Inquisition, she was friends with the Inquisitor, at least my Inquisitor, and yeah, pretty ingrained in all that. So I imagine she and Varric will clue us into Solus if that bridge ever gets crossed, and probably have a talk or two about the Inquisitor actually. And I'm hoping for an Inquisitor cameo at least, because these Harding and Varric, like, they personally know them, so I imagine the Inquisitor is at least gonna get brought up. But I'm super hoping for a cameo, because I don't think Inquisitor's story's finished yet, so that's just a hope. If not, should be part of the story, but, you know, we'll see. I assume we're going to find out more about Harding, about her personal life, about her family. I remember in Inquisition she talked about how she didn't want to bring her family to Skyhold because she's worried we're going to have another Haven situation. I remember that distinctly. So I'm looking forward to learning more about her and seeing her feelings on things. Like, she seems always up and at 'em all the time. And I just want to see other parts of her personality, other parts of her life. So I'm looking forward to that. Then we're introduced to Neve Gallus, a mage and private investigator working in Minrathous, who appeared in Tevinter Nights as a POV character in The Streets of Minrathous, as well as the missing comic. So she has a prosthetic leg of Dwarven design. I actually really liked the animation and design they went with in this trailer. I think it looked really quite cool, actually. Especially when you compare it to what it looked like in the missing comic. I think they did a good job with that. Plus it gives me hope that the Inquisitor got a cool looking prosthetic arm. I suspect she's going to be one of the first companions we get, so I think it'll be Harding and then her. Especially since we're probably going to get, they're going to want to get, oh my gosh. They're going to want to give us a rotation of party members, so I assume they're not going to want to put a rogue and a rogue together, because you also might be playing a rogue. So I think they'll go Harding, who's a rogue, mage, and then they might swap that out. The next character we meet is probably going to be a warrior, because you're only allowed 2 party members along with you at a time, which I still hate. I absolutely don't like that, but we'll see how that goes. Like many things. So, as for what the scene shows, I don't have much to say on it other than it's a dark street. And, well, Neve is making some kind of deal to get some kind of trinket? To get some kind of trinket. I don't know what the trinket is. She also seems to mainly use ice magic. It reminds me actually of Vivian's, iconic introduction where she freezes that guy at a soiree. Then, of course, we have my personal favourite, Lucanis de la Morte. I will say he will probably be my romance for this game, 100%. No one else is even coming close unless they really blow me away with some other character, but Lucanis, over here, it's all eyes on him. So he's the grandson of who is essentially the leader of the Crows of Antiva. He was featured in Tevinter Nights' The Wigmaker Job, one of my favourite short stories in that book. I highly recommend you go read it, or reread it. He's a poisons expert and he's got a lot of blades, and he just killed a man in broad daylight. Cool. I'm not sure where this scene takes place. Killing someone out in the open is no one really seems to care, so I assume it's Antiva. So yeah, that's all I have to say on that. Next is Bellara. I don't really have much to say about veil jumpers, beyond the fact that they seem to jump in and out of the Fade, which, if people can just do that, it fucks with the lore, actually, and kind of ruins the point of Inquisition. So, I'm concerned about that, is all I can say about Bellara and what she's kind of representing right now. Though I will say it looks like she is actually coming out of an active Illuvian that leads, I'm gonna presume, to the Fade. So I'm gonna guess that veil jumpers are people who track down Illuvians for the purpose of finding an active one that they can use. Though in saying that, doesn't Solus state in Trespasser that he controls the entire Illuvian network? So maybe Bellara works for him. Either she doesn't know or does, or veil jumpers in general. Or maybe they're just like sneaky guys that he's like, ugh, they're back. Like coyotes stealing a wolf's kill. I don't know. I just feel like that should be addressed, and maybe I'm completely off, but I feel like the implication of a veil jumper will mean something to Inquisition's plot and mean something with what's going on with Solus, because that's incredibly impactful, whatever it means. So with veil jumpers, there is one other mention of them in lore, and that is in the Missing comic, where they're offhandedly mentioned by Strife, Irulan, and their group, where they're in the Arlafan forest and they introduce themselves as Veil Jumpers and do not elaborate. So that's all we know. So this scene takes place in some elven ruins, but it's unclear where exactly these ruins are. What I'm presuming from this scene is Bellara went through an alluvion, didn't think about it, ended up here and thought, yes, I'm in a cool place, I would like to go explore, and then suddenly, yeah, no, not gonna happen. So that's what I think has happened. I feel like she's just jumped through a random active alluvion and ended up there. Dunno. You know what, maybe that's what Veil Jumpers are, just people who hunt down active alluvions and just go, fuck it, jump. I love that actually, that's something I would do. It's absolutely something my character would do. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I hope that's it. I really do. That's stupid. I love it. I also do want to point out the crow, maybe raven, that's flying in that scene. It makes a little caw noise. The raven is a symbol of Dirthamin, and out of the alluvion comes a tentacle monster. But it's a monster, and we're seeing Hala. So Gillinan and Dirthamin implications. I like this. I like where that's going. Lots of elf stuff. Then we're introduced to Emmerich Volkaren, who is Immortalitasi. Specifically, he's a member of the Morn Watch, which essentially deals with the dead in the Grand Necropolis in Navarra. And he also has a skeletal servant called Manfred. So this scene shows what seems to be people tomb robbing, and of course he's there to get them to not be doing that. This takes place presumably in the Grand Necropolis in Navarra, which I'm actually dreading personally because I have this ridiculous phobia of underground places. As an example to that, I couldn't finish the Dwarf Noble origin for Dragon Age Origins. I had to go watch it on YouTube. I had to go watch someone else do it on YouTube. And the Descent DLC actually made me cry, so yeah, for reference. So I'm dreading the Grand Necropolis. Oh boy, I hope they make it creepy at least. I'm hoping for creepy, and equally dreading it. Emmerich was featured in the Tevinter Nights Down Among the Dead Men short story, which is one of my favourite short stories. There are a few of them I would just go, yep, tier list, yep, it's right up there. So, especially because of Audric and Myrna, who I expect to turn up in the game. I really loved their characters. Actually, more than I liked Emmerich, to be honest. But that's, you know, just a personal opinion. Then there's Davrin, a Grey Warden who appears to have bonded with a Griffin. He does kind of get overshadowed by the Griffin in this scene because, oh fuck, it's a Griffin! They're really bringing them back! I knew it! Griffins are highly intelligent creatures who are very hard for people to actually bond with. They need to find you respectable and likeable. So that tells us all we need to know about Davrin. He is respectable and he is likeable. He is someone you put trust in. Someone you know will have your back. So that's all I need to know about Davrin. Also, he has a Griffin companion. The Griffin likes him. That tells me he's so likeable. I can't wait to see how that goes. So Davrin looks to have Valisleen, and it looks to me to be Gillinan's Valisleen. So this tells us he's Dalish. He looks like a very young Warden, is all I'll say, but he's old enough to have Valisleen, so that's information there. But I do want to point out that if it really is Valisleen, if it's Gillinan's Valisleen, that means that they're going through another redesign with the Valisleen, which will be curious. So I want to see what the other designs look like. The elephant in the room, the Griffin, is fucking adorable. I love it. It's the most perfect little creature. Like, if you took the owlbear cub and somehow made it more cute, I don't know. My brain might implode. So, I just want to say this is a young Griffin. In fact, it might be maybe there's kind of reflection there between, you know, this young Grey Warden, this young Griffin. I like this. I'm liking, I think this is, besides Lucanis, I think this is going to be my second favourite companion. Especially because of that Griffin. It implies so much. So, this is a very young Griffin. I wouldn't say it's a baby, but I'm still going to call it a baby because it's a really young Griffin. For reference, adult Griffins can get so big that they can carry 2 people on their back and still fly. So my suspicions are this is one of the Griffins that was hatched after last flight, one of the original clutch, or this is another generation, so they have been breeding them to try and repopulate them, which I kind of hope for the latter because it means, yay, more Griffins! This might actually be even a generation after that, who knows? I want to know what happened to all those little babies. I will also say that I am concerned for this little Griffin, because while it is the size of a Mabari, and it does do a lot of damage, it is going out, it is fighting Darkspawn without any other Griffins nearby, on the ground, without armor, and it's just going at them. Like, Griffins can contract the Blight, and this little guy is just going after Darkspawn on the ground, like, with no protection, really. For example, they would put armor over their beaks so they wouldn't be able to peck at the Darkspawn, because if they get it in some of Darkspawn blood, viscera, any of that in their mouth, that's them. They're dead. They cannot be cured. I'm really worried that they might kill it off for a sad moment. I doubt they would. They wouldn't do that, but the concern is still there. Also, the way it jumps and runs around makes me think that this is a Griffin that is not capable of flying yet. It's not learned that. So perhaps that means with Davrin and this Griffin, part of their arc is helping Davrin and this Griffin learn to fly. And that's kind of going to be that arc, and I think that's really cute, and damn it, I think Davrin might be my new romance. Sounds perfect, actually. Oh. And the end of the game is the Griffin's big enough to fly. I love that. Oh, I hope that's what they've gone with. Also, in this scene generally, the Darkspawn look odd. I'm not sure if this is something new that's happening lore-wise, or if it's just a redesign, but hell, I will admit they do look more intimidating than they do in Inquisition. I feel like it is a return to the root of the horror of the Blight of Darkspawn, because in Origins, they were terrifying. Like, they actually put the fear of God into me, these things. So, it makes me hopeful that they will still lean into horror to a degree. It's just this trailer is really weird in how they've put it together. And last we have Tash, a Qunari woman with a glass, maybe emerald horn. She's a dragon hunter, so I'm guessing she's Talvishoff. I believe she's in Ravane, where this scene takes place. You know what? I can respect a woman who single-handedly has the balls to take on a dragon. I don't really have much to say about her. I think she's the companion I'm least excited about. The only thing I have to say really is I hope her entire personality isn't just, I'm a badass. Did you know I hunt dragons? Do you know I'm a big beefy woman who fights dragons? That's my personality. I hope she does have something going on other than that, because I remember loving Karlach in Baldur's Gate because, truthfully, I just loved her love of life kind of personality. I didn't really care much for what she looked like. And then we have the look at the team fighting scene. I don't know what to think of this, other than it reminds me of that one Inquisition trailer, but, you know, less cool. I think I've heard people mention that this looks like it's in the Fade. I do think there's some credence to that. I do also think maybe Solus has succeeded and it's hell on earth. Guess what? His plan didn't work. Again. So, it could be that, but I have a feeling it might be the Black City. The group is in a circle area, and we can actually see Emmerich looks like he's running from the dragon that turns up. So perhaps he is luring it there to fight at our side? Maybe? Yeah? So there's also a figure with purple wings. And then we have the big dragon at the end. I'm saying it's either one of the gods we'll be facing off or a great dragon. Or both, I don't know. And I very much suspect it is on our side to a degree, as it looks like Emmerich lured it over and the group seem to be holding this position. So it's at least gonna fight the Darkspawn approaching, at least. And while everything else seems to be corrupted, this dragon seems pretty alright actually. It doesn't look corrupted at all. It just makes sense in my head. I also want to point out that in the background there's those elven god symbols. So I do suspect this is related to the Evanuris, this place. I think this is where Solus trapped them. So I'm really curious to see where that goes. But if it is what's going on with the Great Dragon, I don't know. I think it's going to be on our side. Maybe it's one of the Evanuris redeemed. Who knows? I'm hoping for that actually, that'd be super interesting. Yeah, guess what? Solus was wrong. Maybe not all of the Evanuris were shits. Maybe he's the dickhead in actuality. Hashtag not all Evanuris. Last thing I want to point out about this end scene is that I don't spot that little Griffin anywhere, which makes me very concerned, as I said earlier. We'll see, but I don't see it. Please, if you can see it, can you point it out to me in the comments? I want to know. I need to know if that little Griffin's gonna be okay. That is my top priority in this game. Screw the plot. Baby Griffin. I'm gonna give up my life as an adventurer. Fuck defying the gods. I'm gonna go off and just live amongst the Griffins. Beyond that, I don't think I have any other thoughts. I will say I'm a bit surprised and disappointed that Vea wasn't a companion, given how much she's in the comic series. Like, she's in a few of them, and it just felt like they were setting her up to be a companion. So I'm super surprised by that, and, you know, really sad, because she was, out of all of the extended media, she was my favourite character. So, yeah, I'm hoping she's at least gonna be in the game. So, this is the part where I want to talk about my feelings towards the trailer and address what I've seen in the comments and whatnot from the trailer. So, at first, I did not like this trailer. I still don't. I think it's a terrible trailer. They shouldn't have released it. At least not in the state that it's in. But I have been pausing constantly, slowing it down, not actually listening to the music. And trust me, when you do that, it comes across much better when you're just taking in information and not consuming it, if that makes sense. So I'm hopeful that this is just a trailer problem and not this is the game problem. And Tuesday with the game reveal, I'm actually super optimistic now after having done this. So take that for what it's worth. But about that teaser trailer, I do want to address where it went wrong. First off, I want to say, it was more than likely not made in-house, as many video games tend to have trailers that were commissioned to some random animation studio, where they give them the info, they give them designs, they say, make it look like this, and then they make it. But it's not the actual people who have made the game that make the trailer. So I think that's what's happened. So yeah, to address the tone and art style issue, I really want to articulate this properly, but obviously there are many things I lack. So I hope this comes across as well enough to understand, is that the reason so many people dislike this, beyond, you know, obvious concerns of the direction, is this trailer, it comes across as something of a tonal whiplash compared to every other bit of content for previously Dreadwolf that we've had for the last several years. Like, for example, Dreadwolf, until a couple of days ago, was called Dreadwolf, and now it's the Veilguard. When the trailer drops, it's just, that alone is very jarring. So last minute, especially given the game's coming out in a couple of months. It is very, oof, you've just hit me with that. Okay, this late? Alright. it just feels like every other bit of setup and advertisement for this game before this point has been taking itself seriously, has been, I wouldn't say dark fantasy, but it's definitely leaning into a more serious tone than what this trailer showed, and it is very, very jarring. That is the problem, I think. So overall, I think the reason people are upset, and the reason I didn't like this trailer either, is that it's advertising a completely different game to the one we've previously been advertised for the last several years. It feels very, very different. It does not feel like the same game that we were given information on, given trailers for. If you go back and rewatch the Dreadwolf teasers, they look nothing like this. That is why so many people are upset. That is the issue. Several things. BioWare, you should have changed the name earlier. You were gonna do it at some point. We've had Dreadwolf for 2 years. You changed the name a couple of days before you tell us the game's coming out in a couple of months. And I do sincerely believe you should not have released this trailer. Not today at least. And not in this form, because it's not a good trailer. I know if you're someone who likes this trailer, you can enjoy it. I'm not saying you can, it's just a majority of people do not like it. It's the music and the general tone that's been set. As I said, it's very jarring compared to literally everything else we've gotten up until this point and set up for the Veilguard now. It comes across as a mobile game ad or something for like Overwatch, as many people have mentioned. Yeah, I don't have much else to say on it, but that's just where I've decided my thoughts lie. But in saying all that, I am still hopeful as a fan of Dragon Age for many years now, and I'm looking forward to the new game that's coming out, as well as any future reveals, trailers, and updates that come out. I am still hopeful. I'm still looking forward to the game. Having broken down this trailer, I do feel better about it because I didn't watch it as someone watching a trailer. I watched it as someone picking it apart. And to me that says that's an issue with the trailer, not with the game. So I've got my fingers crossed, and I think let's wait for the gameplay to come out to have more definitive thoughts on it. But yeah, generally speaking, yeah, that's just all I have to say on it. So yeah, that's all I've got for today, guys. Tomorrow, hopefully I finish editing this for tomorrow, but Tuesday, gameplay reveal, I'll have a video on that, and then I'm gonna disappear into the void for like nearly 2 weeks, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I hope the gameplay looks good, and yep, I'll see you guys on the other side. Bye bye. Okay, so in post, literally while I'm editing this, I've seen the clip that's been going around of tomorrow's gameplay. It's literally like a 10-second clip that shows Rook being led down some stairs by Varric and Minrathis with the Circle of Magi directly in front of us. It's raining, it's dark, it looks quite gritty. I actually am really encouraged by that. Several things. Rook is now confirmed to be a voiced protagonist. Varric is the one leading us down the stairs to go find, not Neve, pardon, I've never heard her name pronounced before. Because she has a lead on Solus. They mention Solus. So, yeah, okay. I take back everything I said about no mention of Solus, so he's there. Yep. I like the look of the gameplay from the short clip that was shown. It does look very God of War-y, I would say, which is not in any way a bad thing. I really like the look of God of War. And yeah, overall, I feel very encouraged. I'm really, really looking forward to tomorrow to see what else there is. So, yeah, I can't wait to see how mechanics work. Awesome. So yeah, that's all. Oh yeah, one last thing. Harding's not with you, it looks like. And doesn't appear to be a HUD on. So I assume maybe the scene was, oh yeah, we're gonna recruit this kid. Yeah. Harding, you go tell someone important. Go, I don't know, you need to go do something else. I'm gonna take the new kid around, which is just such a Varric thing to do. It's Hawk.2 and I actually kind of adore that. But yeah, that's all I have to say on that. It looks pretty good. I'm very, very, very looking forward to tomorrow to see what more there is, because it looks very encouraging. Yeah, anyway, bye.